Hi, welcome to episode 14 of our playthrough with Empyrion. So where we are is we finished with the Tales of Tash and we moved to Omicron, put down a base here, and what I've done off camera is I've worked quite a bit on the base. So if we just look around, I put down a bunch of capacitors, 4 up there, 4 up there. Capacitors are just batteries which hold solar power, and we've got 15 solar panels up there. So I think we're good on power, because one thing I did notice, if we just go to P in statistics, is that the solar is generating a huge amount of power, filling up the batteries very, very quickly. So we're not going to have to use any fuel on the base. What else? I put down some grow plots and some random various plants here. We've got a repair station. There's our advanced constructor that we brought from Aqua. There's our deconstructor, full range of medical stations. And I moved everything into the base that we previously had in Aqua. So now, mentioning fuel, we do need to think forwards in terms of what we're going to do for fuel production, because once we get some larger vehicles, we are going to have more fuel needs. So if we just go into F3, what we're going to want to be doing if we're in miscellaneous is making these fusion cells here. So I've unlocked this, and what we're going to be needing for fusion cells is promethium pellets and hydrogen bottles. Now, to make hydrogen bottles, we need water containers, and to get water containers, we had to make these water generators here. So I put 5 down, so this will generate more than enough water containers over time that will be able to generate the hydrogen we need to keep up with our fuel needs. At least I found in the past that 5 certainly generates enough hydrogen to keep our fuel needs in check. So what else? Well, now that we're in Omicron, we're kind of at a crossroads about what to do. If you look on the right there, you've got comm station, which says find station, access conference and protocol quest line, and that's a route we could go down. But we could also freestyle a little bit, and I think that's what we're going to do. Now, one thing we did notice in the last episode, that when we were making some autominers, we had a limitation on Erestrum and Zascosium. And whatever we do going forwards, we've only got this little SV at the moment, which is good for taking out small drones, etc. But we can't take on any POIs with that because it's got no defense, and it'll get beaten up too quickly. So we're going to have to upgrade our vehicles at some point, as well as make a capital vehicle. So whatever we do, we're going to need Erestrum and Zascosium. So what we're going to do is address that need, and we are going to do 2 things in this episode. Firstly, we did make 6 autominers in the last episode, so we're going to place those down on this planet. If we just go console and map, just to open up the entire map, and press M again. So we've got 4 tier 1 autominers. So what I'm going to do, and we've got 2 tier 3s. So what I'm going to do is put tier 1s down here on copper, iron, silicon, 1 up here on carbon, and we're going to put down the 2 tier 3s on the promethium. So then what we're going to do is we're going to head off to, if we just go to the solar system here, and you look at this planet here, Symos. Now what we can do to find information about Cimos is go into info panel and just make sure that we click this one here, which tells us about the planet. And this tells us all about Cimos. Now Cimos has Erestrum and Zascosium, so this is where we will be able to meet our needs of both of these ores. Trouble is, it has this multiple anti-aircraft turrets detected. And our SV being as small and weak as it is, it'll get one shot by any of these guys. So we're going to have to be careful there and stay away from those guys. But what we're going to do is go to Symos, set up a base, and a teleporter link so that we can get backwards and forwards between Omicron and Symos. Now, the problem there is that Symos, like Omicron, has a drone base on, and we are going to get periodic drone attacks. So what we need is we need an SV in both of these places. Now we've only got 1 SV at the moment, but it means we need to make another one. So another thing that I did off camera is just going F2, is an anticipation of going to Symos. I made another base which we can put down there, and I also made another Polaris Scout. And if we just go tab, I also made all of the accompaniments that we're going to need. So once we put down the base on Symos, we're going to want to see if, well, hopefully we can feed it with solar panels so that we don't have to use fuel. Now there is radiation on Symos, so we're going to want to put down a bed just in case we want a nap, but also a shower to reduce radiation. Put down a medical device just in case we get radiation sickness, and then a tier 4. We can put down a tier 4 and cure that immediately. But we're going to want a teleporter because we want to go back and forth, because we want to put autominers down there on Erestrum and Zascosium and to be able to go back periodically to pick them up. So we're going to want a teleporter and a switch to set it up just like we did before, and a large generator just so that we can sustain the power that the teleporter needs. Now again, because there are going to be drone attacks on Symos, we're going to need to put ammunition in the base, so we've also got some ammunition to go. So that's two things that we're going to do in this episode, and that is place down our autominers on Omicron, and then we're going to head off to Symos, place a base down there, and see how we can go about getting some Erestrum and Zascosium. First things first, let's go place our autominers. Coming into our first deposit here, so let's get out and arm ourselves with tier 1. So there's some of those crab things, but I think we can ignore them for now. So placing an autominer, you need to find somewhere that's blue. So for example, you can't place it there, but it's quite a big area we can place it, so this will do. And we need to feed it some fuel. So this is a tier 1 miner on a small mine. Question whether it's even worth it. It'll give us 42 per hour, so I guess else it's just going to sit in the drawer somewhere, so I guess it's worthwhile. Moving on to the next ore deposit. Coming in on our second deposit now. This one is medium in size, so we should see a number higher than 42. So let's just get out again, got blue, fuel. So there you go, 54 per hour. Not hugely better. So moving on. Coming in now on a carbon deposit. Now this one is large, so I'll be interested to see what we get out of this one. $95 per hour, so that's better. Alright, so let's go to the Promethean ones. So coming into the first Promethean one, we do see, just need to make sure our guns are on, which they are. There's a drone in front of us, which we can easily take out. We can hit it. Let's see what he's got for us. Nothing great. So Prometheum. So this mine is very small, but we've got tier 3 miners now, so $120 per hour, not bad. So just a reminder that Prometheum mines do deplete. Just coming in on our final Prometheum deposit now. So this is small versus very small, so what we should find, I'll just get our lights on, is that we get more than 120, so yeah, 150. Yeah, as mentioned, Prometheum deposits do deplete, whereas the others don't. So when we come back, it may be that these deposits have depleted, maybe not entirely sure. So note up in the mountains here, just looking at the map, there is a source of pentaxid if we wanted to stop off, run around and pick these things up. But we don't have any immediate need for pentaxid, so what we can do, just looking at the map again, now where we've placed our autominers, you get, you can't see here, but you do get a pin attached to the deposit. So there, 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 and there. So by the time we come back, hopefully we'll be able to make tier 3 autominers, because then we'll have the Zascosium and the Erestrum. But let's head off to Symos. So in orbit now, let's stop the ship, and one of the things we need to do is attach our warp drive, so let's do that. That'll do. So M, system map, Symos, lock target, find where it is with the yellow arrow, move towards it, press the K button. And here we are at Symos. So first thing we do, as always, is ping to make sure there are no nasties around. And I don't see any, so we can get out, take this off, because that slows us down, and head off to Symos. Just arrived in Symos. First thing we want to do is stabilize the vehicle and stop it. So just looking at, we're 654 meters off the ground, which is fine because if we've come in just right above a Xerax base, we're out of range. So we're good there. So M, and let's just see where we are. Now what we would normally do is, it's a large planet, so we would spend some time just flying around grid by grid and discovering everything, just seeing where everything is. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to open up a map using console. So map, back to M, and now we can see where we are. Now what we want to see are unguarded Erestrum and Zascosium deposits. So here you can see the Erestrum ones, the green ones, and Zascosium is kind of the goldish brown color. But as usual, they are defended by rocket defenses, so we can't get too close without getting shot at. Often we do find unguarded ones. It's just a question, there's some gold. So for example, this one looks relatively unguarded, so we can get to that one. More gold, more gold. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything, any Zascosium unguarded. A lot of gold. Oh, here we go. Now, here is an unguarded Erestrum deposit, and it's also next to a Polaris station. So that definitely looks like a place that we would like to set up base, because this is likely to have a trader in as well. And we can then place an autominer down on the Erestrum, and that's our Erestrum problems solved. As far as Zascosium, we're just going to have to investigate to see if we can get to any of these deposits without too much problem. But let's head here and we'll plonk down a base, and I'll see you when we get there. Just coming in on the Polaris station right now, if we ping, you see our Erestrum deposit is right there next to the stations. That's very convenient. Now this type of station does have a hangar door. Just going to go in there. Now there's something called an overseer here, which is a nasty, so let's just deal with that. Let's just go loot that guy, because he does drop some, I think it's Promethium, or is it Promethium, I think. No, Pentaxid. Alright. Now this type of base is useful because it solves our, well, any financial issues you have, because what we can start to do, once we sell off all our guns and we've got a little bit of money, if you go up to this guy here, and have a look at what he sells. He sells platinum ore. It's pretty expensive, but what you can do is buy the platinum ore, turn it into platinum ingots, which then you can turn into platinum bars, come up to this guy, who then buys platinum bars. And there is quite a profit to be had just going through that process. It takes a long time to turn the platinum ore into bars. That's the only issue. But in this base you do have a constructor that you're allowed access to down here. And what you can do is just pick one of these fridges, which is there. So this is going to be fridge 2, just because it's closest. Oh, they're all fridge 2. Let me see, this is the one with the energy bar in. This is, yep, that's this one. So what we can do is just use this as our container, and we can turn all the platinum ore into platinum bars here. And that way, every time we come back, we'll be able to sell off the platinum bars and get some money. And over time, that accumulates. Let's get our lights on. Another thing about this type of base is that if we go up here, if you just look, our oxygen is not at full levels. There is an oxygen supply there. We also have a full list of medical stations that we're allowed to use. So having a base next to this isn't so bad. The only issue is that we will lose some reputation points if we put a base down here and stay too long in the territory. But it's easy to get reputation back, and also we don't go to unfriendly until we get down to 12,000, so we can afford an awful lot of reputation loss. But it's easy to get it back, and we can do that on Omicron a little bit later, so that's not really an issue. So what I'll do is slight discontinuity, barking dog problems again. Yeah, I was just saying that I'll find somewhere flat, put a base down, and do all the usual adjustments, as in get some solar panels get some capacitors, medical device. Well, we actually don't need that because we've got this type of base here, but I get a teleporter system in so we can go backwards and forwards with Omicron. But also, once we fly back to Omicron, we're going to need an SV here, as mentioned, because we're liable to get drone attacks. So I think we're going to lose reputation points here as well. Let's just see. Yeah, minus 198 bars. And then we'll make all of the usual adjustments to the SV, like putting on the minigun turrets and thrusters so that it's faster. But I'll do that later. In the meantime, what we want to do is head off and see if we can solve our Zascosium issue. So let's do that. So Erestrum, not a problem. Oh, this is Creole territory, by the way, this color. And they're not people, it's not somebody we need to deal with right now. We are enemies with them if we were to go in and say hello. But when we start beating up on Xerax, we gain reputation points with the Creole, and eventually, once we've destroyed enough Xerax bases and killed enough Xerax, we'll end up friends with them. So we can pretty much ignore them for now. So all we can really do on Zascosium is just investigate each one and see if we can get to it, because what happens quite often is that these rocket defenses are in valleys and hollows, and they're surrounded by mountains. You can often get an approach to the ores depending on the topography. So I'm gonna have a look at this one. So let's head off there. Coming into the rocket defense now, we could see it right there. Just going M. Just be careful of this one over here. So I'm going to have to ping again. The label's getting in the way, that's the only problem. So we can't see that there. We've got enough room on here, as long as we're more than a kilometer away. I think it's within about 800 meters that they start shooting. Oops, pretty good. Oh no, that's the drone. Yeah, the labels are getting in the way here. Can't quite see where it is. But if we position ourselves here, now we're good. So the Zascosium is between us and the base now. There's the base there, we can just see the top, so let's just make sure. So let's ping again. So I think we're good here, because 120 27 meters, 120 meters. That's not far to dig. So I think we're good. So let's just get out. Start digging. See how quickly we can dig here. We'll be at the Zascosium, no problem. Now, one issue is that it's minus 93, and I don't think we've got the right armor on. So let's just have a quick look. So devices, armor locker. So we've got light armor, and we've got mobility boost and armor boost, which is not what we want. Try it first time. So we got radiation protection. We got EVA, 2 radiation protections. That should be good. Make sure jetpack's on, make the jump. So we're good down to minus 195, and it's minus 84, yeah, we're good. So, Zascosium, here we come. Coming in on the Zascosium now. And there it is right there. We can do that with our drone now, F5. I'll mine this out a bit back when we're done. Pretty sure we've depleted this Zascosium mine now. If we just take a quick look at how much we got, that's quite good. It's 5 ore per 10 ingots, so this should get us more than 1,000 ingots, which is certainly, if we just go to F2 and we just look at what we're hoping to get in the future, going to SV. And that's this MX9D. So we need 856. That will give us enough, just getting out of drone mode, that will give us enough Zascosium for that. Now we can also dig towards that Erestrum over there. So I'm going to do that, it shouldn't take too long. Yeah, that took no time at all, because we can walk at normal walking speed with the drill here. So we're at the Erestrum, go into drone mode F5 and mine this out, see how much we get. As far as I can see, all the Erestrum's been mined there. If we just go tab, have a look at how much we got. Now that was a medium mine, so we got more, 867. That'll give us 1,000, well yeah, 1,700-ish ingots. So let's head back to the ship. Back at the ship now. Just looking at our inventory, this will give us enough Erestrum, certainly for the foreseeable future. So when we come back to Symos, we'll be able to pick up more, because this will give us enough to upgrade some of our autominers. So we'll be able to get an F3, sorry, tier 3 autominer on this Erestrum deposit here. So that's really our Erestrum needs met for the rest of the game. As far as Zascosium, we may have to do the sneak approach on one more, and it would be the same approach. We would just have to look at the rocket defense and see if we could just dig towards the ore that we wanted without getting too close to this particular, to the rocket defense. So just backing away. Yeah, we're good. So I'll call the episode here. I'm just going to head back to the Polaris station and set up base there, put down a base, and make all the modifications we need so that we can teleport backwards and back and forth with Omicron. And then we'll see what we want to do in the next episode, and hope to see you then. So thanks for watching. Bye.